Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is You Had Me at Hey, chapter 22, and this one is titled Papa Jiro to the Rescue. Honey, we need to talk about Yin, your dad said urgently to your mum when she arrived back home later that night. Why, what's wrong? Your mum asked as she climbed up the stairs to the house. I just caught her, Your dad fumbled, looking for the best way to delicately describe what he had just seen. Doing some inappropriate things with her friend Jiro. What? Your mum gasped. What do you mean? I think they were, like... He pretended to touch himself. Doing that? Oh, honey, your mum laughed. It's just a phase. She's just experimenting. She'll get over it. We just need to get her to hang around boys more. That'll sort her out. I hope you're right, your dad said dubiously. Let me talk to her. It's a sensitive girl topic, your mum said with a wink at your dad. Your dad huffed and shook his head. Okay, fine, but she's in her room, he said. Don't worry, honey, your mum said as she patted your dad on the back as she walked past. Yin, honey, your mum sang as she knocked on your door and then pushed it open. Can I come in? Sure, you sulked with embarrassment. It's okay, sweetheart, she said as she walked in and closed the door behind her. I'm not here to tell you off. You looked at her through puffy eyes. You're not? You asked. No, she said as she shook her head. Your father told me as soon as I got home. Figured. You grunted with an eye roll. It's okay, darling. You're just going through a phase, your mum said gently as she sat down next to you on the bed. You'll stop once you find a nice boy. No, but I don't want anyone else but Kai, Mum, you said disappointedly. Oh, you'll forget all about her when you meet the right boy, your mum said with a smile, patting you on the knee. Mum, are you sexually attracted to llamas? You asked with a dead straight face. What? She gasped. Yin, of course not. Well, that's okay. You'll fall in love when you find the right llama, you replied in a deadpan voice. I don't understand what you're saying, Yin. That's exactly what you're saying to me, Mum. You're saying that I need to find the right guy to stop being gay. But I am gay, Mum. I'm gay for Jiro, and no one can stop me. Gay? Your mum gasped. Sweetheart, how can you be gay? No one in our family is gay. How did this happen? What the actual F, Mum? You deadpanned. You honestly didn't just say that, did you? In your language, she gasped again, getting up from her seat beside you on the bed. You're turning into a horrible person because of this Jiro friend of yours. No, I'm turning into a horrible person because of my own parents being idiots, you shouted. Your mum welled with tears and covered her mouth with her hand. I can't believe you just said that, she said in a shaky voice, a single tear sliding down her cheek. You felt bad for making her cry, but at the same time you were pissed and still a little embarrassed at being caught mucking around with Jiro. I don't want to talk about this anymore, you seethed bitterly. Just then your dad marched in and your heart sank. What did you say to your mum? He bellowed. You cowered onto the bed. Please go, please, you begged. I just want to be left alone. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't belt you, he yelled. Honey, no, your mum interjected. Let's go. She's not our daughter anymore. I don't know who she is, she said as she dragged your dad out of the room and closed the door. You burst into tears. How could your parents be so heartless? This wasn't fair at all. No one deserved this treatment. You crawled under the bedsheets and sobbed until you fell asleep. The next morning you woke at 9 a.m, very late for school. Friggin' school, not going, you thought angrily as you rolled over in bed. Your parents never bothered to wake you, and you stayed in your room the whole day, only sneaking out to grab a bottle of drink and snacks. At some point last night your laptop and phone had been taken, so you just stared at your ceiling, wondering how this was all going to end. What's going to happen here? Are they going to kick me out? Hi, sweetheart. Jiro's mum greeted her daughter when the purplet arrived home that evening. Jiro ran in and hugged her mum. It's nice to be back home, Jiro said with a smile as she looked up into her mum's kind face. Is that my baby bug I hear? Jiro's dad called out from the den where he kept all his instruments. Yeah, Jiro called happily. She heard her dad put down some things, then his footsteps coming up the stairs. Where's my baby? He called as he rounded the corner. She beamed when she saw him. Hey, Dad. Come here, bugaboo, he said with a chuckle as he stretched his arms out to give Jiro a big dad hug. She giggled as he engulfed her and spun her around. It's nice to have you home again, he said with a smile. Now, let's talk girl troubles, hey? he said as he walked over to the table and sat down. What's the story with you and your girlfriend? Jiro sighed and walked over to sit down opposite him, her mum following suit. Your girlfriend explained everything that had happened, leaving out the details of how you and her got caught, but ending on her being told to never come back. Jiro's dad frowned. Well, that's not very ultra cool of them, is it? He said, trying to use Jiro's school catchphrase. Dad, it's plus ultra. Jiro deadpanned as she played with an earjack. Oh, right, he said. Well, I'll just have to go and talk to her father then, won't I? He added with a smile. Your dad was in a foul mood. He didn't know how to fix you, and it really pissed him off. He served customers with a scowl on his face and just looked downright intimidating. Jiro's dad entered the shop and marched up to your dad, who was still behind the counter. Hey, he said gruffly as he crossed his arms across his chest. Your dad's eyes shot up and met Jiro's dad's, his face changing instantly. Kyotaku! He laughed with surprise. What are you doing here? Hey, dude, Jiro's dad said with a light laugh as his face softened and he uncrossed his arms. Long time no see. Your dad walked around the counter and the two men shook hands. What brings you here? Your dad asked with a grin. Actually, I'm on important business, Jiro's dad said with a sweat-dropped look on his face. Oh, you need some more music equipment? Your dad asked curiously. Not this time, dude. It's regarding our daughters, he said with a soft smile. Our daughters? Your dad looked confused for a second, and then everything clicked and his jaw dropped open. Jirou? Jirou! Oh, man. I knew that last name sounded familiar. Please, Toku, we need to chat, man. I don't know what to do, your dad said with exasperation. I'm so glad you've come to me. I guess you're just as confused as I am about this whole thing. Should we send them to therapy? Is that what you're thinking? Chill, man, chill, Jiro's dad said with a chuckle. Let's sit down and talk about it, hey? When do you go on break? Well, I can leave now if you like. I've been thinking about this all day and all last night. I need to talk to someone about how to fix my girl, your dad said, still quite put out by it. Hey, man, don't stress anymore, okay? Jiro's dad said calmly. Where can we talk? Okay, Toku, okay. Let's talk in the studio. It's quiet and private in there, your dad said as he led the way. Jiro's dad followed calmly, entering the room while your dad held the door open. He took a seat at the sound desk and your dad followed shortly after. Now, dude, I gotta be straight with you. I know my baby girl has been gay for a while now, Jiro's dad said as he leaned forwards and rested his elbow on the desk. Sorry, what? Your dad asked incredulously. Yeah, man, Jiro's dad said with a laugh. And it's not bad at all. But I don't understand. How can my girl be gay? None of us are gay, your dad said again, completely bewildered. Dude, it's not something you pass down from generation to generation, he said with an amused chuckle. Sometimes you just can't help who you fall in love with, right? He said, raising an eyebrow at your dad. Your dad's face flushed and he looked away as he cleared his throat. Oh, come on, man. Don't tell me you haven't told your daughter about how you and your wife met, he asked with a cheeky chuckle. No, of course not. She doesn't need to know about her mother's questionable past, your dad said defensively. But it's the same thing. You were never supposed to fall for a prostitute. That's different, your dad said quickly. I beg to differ, man, Jiro's dad said with another light chuckle. Come on, I've known you since high school, and you're one wild boy. Your girl falling in love with mine is child's play compared to what you got up to. Shh! Come on, man. Keep your voice down, your dad hissed as he glanced back at the closed door. Listen, I don't want her to know, okay? She would lose all respect for me. Dude, to be honest, you're refusing her seeing my daughter is already making her lose respect for you. What you don't want to lose is your daughter. Trust me, Jiro's dad said softly. Your dad hung his head. Her being gay doesn't change her heart or the fact that she's your girl. It just means that she won't fall victim to teen pregnancy, he said with a laugh. That's a plus in my books. Thank you, Papa Jiro, the voice of reason. Stay tuned for chapter 23 coming tomorrow.